Hello everyone and welcome back. I'm Deziel and today we're doing the tailor sleeve for the code block that we did last time. Before starting, you could go and download from my site truefully.com the paper with the steps I'll be following, and there's a little sketch also to help you and put the extra measurement you need to. Make sure you have your coat pattern not too far because we're going to need to take some measurement from them. I will start on a new piece of paper where I'm going to trace my first construction line about 5 centimeters from the right edge of your paper. And the measurement of that line should be the length of your sleeve. For this example, give a 60 centimeter, but to that measurement we're going to add an extra 2.5 centimeter because the band arm measurement is a little longer and it's included in the construction of the tailor sleeve. From the top of the sleeve, we're going to need the measurement of the depth of the armhole, and that measurement is coming from your coat block. I usually take it from the back because it's a little higher than the front. You're going to measure in a straight line from the shoulder and armhole point to the bust level. I got 21 centimeter, and to that measurement you're going to subtract 3 cm. This is going to be my sleeve head measurement. I need one more point on my line. Elbow level is half of the sleeve length plus 4 centimeter from the top. I'm going to put my elbow at 30 plus 4. Now when you got all your points, you're going to square line towards the left. I did trace the bottom line at the 2.5 down. Now the next thing we're going to need is the width of the armhole. This is also going to come from the coat block. Overlap your underarm point. You're going to measure from center front to center back at the bust level. I got 54.5. Now to get the armhole width for the sleeve, you're going to take that half bodice measurement that you got, divide it by 4, and to that measurement you're going to add 7 centimeter and up to 8.5. That depends how much ease you want at your sleeve head. I'm going to use a 7 centimeter, so that gives me a total of 20.62, and I'm going to put it on the top line. Already when I'm there, I'm going to divide that measurement by 2 and trace 2 lines square from the top line, one at the middle point, that's going to be my grain line, all the way down. The second one is for the width of my armhole, all the way to the elbow level. The next point that we'll find are going to be reference point to be able to trace the curve of the sleeve head. Divide each side by 2. Then the quarter next to the grain line, you're going to divide again by 2. On the sleeve head line, you're going to divide the sleeve head length by 4 and just mark it on the first line we did. Now that you have this measurement, you're going to go to the grain line and put half of that measure on the grain line. So this would be 1/8. Now from that quarter point, you're going to connect with the quarter of the sleeve on the right side. Now take your 1/4 of the sleeve width and pivot your measurement on the diagonal line that you just did. Then you'll be able to connect the 1/4 to the 1/8 at the sleeve head. For the other side, you're going to connect the 1/8 that you find on the grain line to the opposite corner, so trace diagonal line. On the left side, you're going to take the measurement of the 1/4 of the width of your sleeve and place it down on the last line, but to that measurement you need to add an extra 2 centimeter. From that point, you're going to connect with the quarter at the sleeve head. You're going to measure that 1/8 of the width and report it on the diagonal line we just did. You'll be able to connect both 1/8 measurement. Now from the intersection point, you're going to measure 7 centimeter down. Now we'll move to the elbow level. On the right side, you're going to go in 1 centimeter, connect it with the 1/4 point, do dotted line because this is not going to be a construction line, it's just to guide you to trace on both sides after. Then at the bottom you continue the line until the 2.5 centimeter. From that line you're going to trace the real construction line on both sides parallel at 2.5, the top and the bottom. Now still at the elbow level you're going to measure in 4 centimeter and right away find the middle 2 centimeter. Now from the 2 centimeter point you're going to trace a line to connect with the 7 centimeter down we did. You could do a dotted line because this is not a construction line. I'm going to ask you to elongate angle line that we did because we're going to need it to pivot this dotted line measurement. So take the measurement and pivot it until you reach the diagonal line. Again, you trace a dotted line. Now we'll be able to trace the real construction line, so from the 7 centimeter to the 4 cm and from the intersection to the original construction line. Now it's time to do the bottom part. Usually a basic sleeve is 22 centimeter all around. Here I will do 28 because it's a coat and it goes over your other garment. If my bottom of the sleeve is 28, I'm going to place here half that measurement. From the 2.5 I'm going to hold to 0 and pivot my 14 centimeter until I touch the bottom line, and you could trace. Now from that point you're going to connect with both the original point at the elbow level and the 4 centimeter inside. On the other side we're just going to transfer that level to the outside line. Square, get your point and move your ruler to connect to the middle line. We're almost done. We just have to do the curve now. I will start with the top part, the outside piece. So from nothing, go out about 2 millimeter. And then when you trace line, you always look to the next point. The next point is going to be in the middle of that little segment. You just go from there, touching the middle part here. Then next, you're going to touch the sleeve head 1 cm away from the grain line. Then if I go on the other side, I'm going to start again about 1 centimeter away from the grain line and touch the middle of that diagonal line. My next reference is going to be about 1 millimeter or 2 higher than the bottom part of that diagonal line, going to nothing over here. I trace in red. This is going to be the top part of the tailor sleeve, and if I continue in red, it's going to be the outside one over here. And the bottom part is over here. You will need to do a smooth curve at the intersection of the 2.5 centimeter. And this is continuing over here. And we don't know about this corner yet, so we'll come back with this one. Now for the under part, this one here, the same piece at the bottom, and the inside line over here. The starting point of the curve is this intersection here, and it's going to go down about 2-3 millimeter in the middle of the curve, pass by your 1/8 here on the grain line, like that. Next point is going to be halfway from the grain line to that side of the small piece. This is also going to be your underarm notch, and you could continue your line touching that point. For the other side of the curve, just continue to the next reference, that is the 1/4 of the sleeve. You know that your sleeve is finishing right there. We did trace a little extra part, but that was our guide for the curve. And this little part of the curve, you're going to transfer it because we were missing for the top part. So now you're going to fold on the dotted line. And with your tracing wheel, just trace this little part of the curve. Now you could see that it matched perfectly with the rest of the curve. To make sure there's no confusion, you could even erase it. Before tracing the piece, I'm going to add a few notches, the elbow that we'll place for the top sleeve and the under part of the sleeve. On the other side, you need to add reference point because we don't have. More or less, it's at 7 centimeters from the top, and from the bottom, put it at 18 centimeters. There's reason why we put 2 sets of notch on that seam, because the top part is going to have some ease. By putting your notch, you're going to control that the ease will be placed at the elbow where you need it. Now at this point, you could also report your armhole notch from the bodice. And you're going to have to do it in 2 steps because we have 2 pieces. So if I take, for example, my front, I have my measurement up to the notch and then the full armhole. My back side is over here and my front side is on the right. Now for the notch of the front bodice, I'm going to start at my underarm point, measure that first part until the end of the piece. Then I have to move to the other piece and continue measuring. My notch would be right there. If I place my full measurement right there, this is not going to be a notch, it's just a reference for now. For my back, I'm going towards the left. This is a notch, and the second one is 1 centimeter higher. And from this one, I take it all the way to the end of the piece. Then I move my ruler to go on the second piece. You have a reference where the back armhole reach and you have another one for the front. The distance between the 2 marks is exactly the ease you're going to have. In that case, I have more or less a 4 cm. You're going to divide this measurement by 2 and there's going to be your shoulder notch for your sleeve. Now as you could see, I traced both of my pieces and I already added my seam allowance. You could also add your hem, and there's a little special thing that you might have noticed on Tailor Sleeve about the seam allowance, so I'll show you what it is. To make sure, you're going to grab the seam allowance in the armhole when you sew your sleeve to the armhole. You don't just extend both seam allowance and cut it like that. You make the corner very obvious. You go 90 degrees out on your seam allowance, and you do the same thing on the other side, 90 degrees out this point. On the small sleeve we do it also. You're going to go 90 degrees at the intersection of the curved seam allowance with the vertical seam line, and you go 90 degrees out. Same thing over here, intersection of the curved line with the seam line vertical. And this way you're sure that your sleeve is going to match. Let me just cut it. Now when you do your hem at the bottom, before cutting, you should fold on the final line and cut so you get your jog right away. Same thing on the other side. Now if you want to see if you did an accurate job on the corner, you have to be really accurate. You're going to overlap your piece, align your notch, just move it, and you should see that corners that you had are exactly at the same level. Same thing on the other side. When you're ready to cut your big piece, you could cut your hem first, but this time, since it's a little curve at the bottom, you're going to do the hem fold in 2 steps. So do it one side, cut, then you could do the other side, folding also on a little while. Now your tailor sleeve is complete, and I cannot wait to show you how to assemble it. That's it for today. I hope you enjoy. Thanks for watching, and I see you next time.